Imagine waking up to a world where China, with over 1,200 ballistic missiles aimed at Taiwan, decides to make its move.
全军各级要强化练兵。
The largest navy in the world, boasting over 350 ships and submarines, begins its ominous approach. In 2023 alone, China poured $230 billion into its defense budget, a staggering increase of over 500% since 2000. This is not just a flex of military might, it's a seismic shift that could alter the global landscape forever. China views Taiwan as a breakaway province, destined to be reunified under the Chinese Communist Party. However, if you were to ask countries like the
U.S. forces, U.S. men and women, would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion.
Yes.
Germany, Japan, or others with significant trade ties with China, the answer isn't so clear. Officially, these nations adhere to the One China policy, recognizing either the government in Beijing or Taipei, but not both. Despite this diplomatic balancing act, these countries engage heavily with Taiwan, trading goods, selling military equipment, and even sending politicians for official visits. This uneasy status quo is under threat, as Chinese President Xi Jinping's top geopolitical objective is the reunification of Taiwan with mainland China. If China were to take control of Taiwan by force, the consequences would be catastrophic. But before we delve into those potential repercussions, let's quickly review the history between China and Taiwan. The Chinese Civil War ended in 1949, with Chiang Kai-shek and his nationalist forces retreating to Taiwan after repeated defeats by Mao Zedong's communist forces. Taiwan became the temporary capital of the Republic of China, which vowed to reunify the mainland. Meanwhile, the Chinese Communist Party established the People's Republic of China on the mainland. Since then, both the PRC and the ROC have claimed to be the sole legitimate government of China. Today, Taiwan has over 23 million people, and the possibility of peacefully uniting with China diminishes each year. The Taiwanese have witnessed the impact of Chinese rule in Hong Kong, handed over by the British in 1997 under the One Country, Two Systems arrangement. Hong Kong was promised freedoms like free speech, an independent judiciary, and a fair legal system. However, in 2020, China imposed a stringent national security law on Hong Kong, stifling free speech and press freedoms, meddling in elections, and installing pro-Beijing officials in key positions. Despite widespread protests, little has changed. Taiwan, on the other hand, has a constitution protecting a wide range of human rights, including freedom of speech, assembly, association, and religion. Citizens can vote and run for office. Under Chinese Communist Party rule, these rights would likely be stripped away, as evidenced by the jailing of a Chinese citizen in 2017 for sharing a meme comparing Xi Jinping to Winnie the Pooh. A Chinese takeover of Taiwan would cause global financial markets to react with significant volatility due to geopolitical instability. The disruption of Taiwan's semiconductor production could lead to shortages and increased prices for electronics and other goods, affecting many industries. Potential economic sanctions on China could lead to trade restrictions, further destabilizing markets.
We recognize China poses a systemic challenge to our values and interests.
What they are is an epoch-defining challenge for our country.
Businesses and investors might shift their strategies, seeking safer markets and diversifying investments to mitigate risks. The immediate aftermath of a Chinese takeover of Taiwan would ignite significant volatility in global financial markets. Investors gripped by fear would likely sell off equities in a frantic rush to safer assets like gold and government bonds. Stock markets worldwide would plummet, mirroring the immense uncertainty and risks tied to the conflict. A Chinese takeover of Taiwan could drastically reshape global trade relationships. Nations wary of China's growing dominance might hasten efforts to reduce reliance on Chinese manufacturing and invest in alternative markets. This could accelerate the trend of diversifying supply chains away from China, profoundly impacting trade volumes and investment flows. Economies heavily dependent on Chinese imports and exports could face significant turbulence as they adapt to this new reality. In response, Western nations, especially the United States and the European Union, might impose stringent economic sanctions on China. These could encompass trade restrictions, financial penalties, and technology export controls. Such measures would not only batter the Chinese economy, but also send shockwaves through the global economy. Sanctions could disrupt international trade flows, exacerbate supply chain issues, and drive up prices for commodities and manufactured goods worldwide. Long-term, a Chinese takeover of Taiwan might spur strategic financial realignments. Nations and multinational corporations could reevaluate their exposure to Chinese markets, striving to mitigate risks linked to geopolitical tensions. This might lead to heightened investments in other emerging markets, diversified supply chains, and the formation of new economic alliances. Financial institutions could also reconsider their portfolios, potentially redirecting capital from Asia to more stable regions. One of the most alarming recent developments escalating tensions between China and Taiwan was a series of military exercises conducted by China in early 2024. These exercises, conducted alarmingly close to Taiwan, were labeled as routine drills to enhance combat readiness. Yet the timing and scale painted a far more menacing picture: a direct threat to Taiwan and a stark display of China's formidable military capabilities. With a massive deployment of troops, advanced weaponry, and a formidable naval presence, including aircraft carriers and submarines, China's show of force was unmistakable. This aggressive maneuver was accompanied by provocative statements from Chinese officials, portraying the drills as a necessary response to alleged provocations from Taiwan and its allies. In a swift counter-move, Taiwan initiated its own military exercises and sought reassurance from international partners, including the United States, further inflaming the situation.
We're going to hold China accountable to follow the rules.
The international community watched with bated breath as major powers and organizations voiced their concerns over the looming threat of conflict. The United Nations called for immediate restraint.
We urge the relevant parties to refrain from acts that could escalate tensions in the region.
While Taiwan's regional allies began to reevaluate their strategic positions and defense commitments. These military exercises not only amplified regional tensions, but also highlighted the looming risk of a direct military confrontation between China and Taiwan. That's it for today's video. What do you think about this topic? Will China really go ahead with its invasion plan? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.